Most rooms that read as cheap were not cheap to put together. That is the part that stops people cold when I first point it out, and I have pointed it out more times than I can count. I am Hannah Mitchell, and I have spent the better part of 20 years walking through homes, helping folks figure out what is pulling a space down. I have been in hundreds of rooms across every budget, and I can usually spot the problem within 30 seconds of stepping through the door. What strikes me every single time is this: the rooms that feel expensive are not always the ones with expensive things in them. The rooms that feel cheap almost always share the same handful of fixable details. And the homeowner, 9 times out of 10, has walked past those details so many times they have stopped seeing them. Here is the honest truth that most home decor content will not tell you, because there is no money in it. You do not need new furniture, new floors, or a contractor. The 2 pieces of advice I see pushed hardest: add more accessories to fill the space, or buy a whole new matching set of something, are almost always exactly backwards. Adding more things to a room that already has a cheap-looking detail just gives you more cheap-looking details. The fix, nearly every time, is removal and refinement, not addition or replacement. Today, I am going to walk you through 12 specific things that are quietly making your home look cheap, why each one does what it does to a room, and the plain, low-cost fix for every single one. By the end, you will be able to walk through your own home with a completely fresh set of eyes, name what you are looking at, and make changes this week, without spending much, and without guessing. Now, before we get into the list, if you want to go deeper on this topic than I can in one video, I have put together a guide that goes further into the kind of detail this format just does not allow room for. The QR code is right there on the left side of the screen. Open your phone's camera app, point it at the code, and it will take you straight to the guide. That same QR code is going to stay pinned in the top right corner of the screen for the rest of the video, so you can scan it at any point while we keep going. No need to stop now. All right. Some of these 12 items are going to be so small you will laugh when I name them, and then you will look across the room and see them immediately. That is exactly how this works. Number 1 is the wrong size rug. This is, in my experience, the single most common mistake in the entire list, and it does more damage to a room than almost anything else on here. A rug that is too small makes furniture look like it is floating. It makes the room feel choppy and temporary, like a student apartment. The fix is straightforward. In a living room, the front legs of all the main seating should sit on the rug. In a dining room, every chair leg should stay on the rug even when pulled out. If your rug cannot do that, it is the wrong size. A larger rug, even an inexpensive one, will immediately make the room feel more considered and pulled together. Do not let the price of a bigger rug put you off. A cheap large rug looks far better than a cheap small one. Number 2 is exposed, mismatched cords. I walk into otherwise beautiful rooms, and there is a tangle of black and white cables running down the back of a television stand or across a baseboard. Our eyes go straight to disorder, and a cluster of cords reads as clutter even when everything else in the room is tidy. The fix does not require an electrician. Cord clips that stick to the back of furniture, a fabric cord cover in a color that matches the wall, or even routing cords behind a piece of furniture. Any of these costs a few dollars and takes maybe 20 minutes. It is one of those changes that, once you do it, you wonder how you lived with the other version. Number 3 is thin, cheap-looking window treatments. Curtains that barely cover the window, hang to mid-wall, or look sheer and limp are one of the fastest ways to make a room feel unfinished. Here is a rule I keep coming back to. Curtain panels should hang from as close to the ceiling as possible, not from just above the window frame, and they should fall all the way to the floor. This tricks the eye into reading the ceiling as higher and the window as larger than it is. You do not need expensive curtains. Linen look panels from any home goods store work beautifully. What matters is the length and the mounting height, not the fabric price. Number 4 is gallery walls done without intention. I am not against gallery walls. Done well, they look genuinely layered and personal. But I have seen more gallery walls that look chaotic than ones that look curated, and the difference usually comes down to 2 things. The frames are too many different finishes, and the spacing is too inconsistent. Pick one or two frame finishes and stick to them: black and natural wood, or all brass toned. Space every frame the same distance apart, around 2 to 3 inches. That consistency is what makes the eye read it as a deliberate choice, rather than an accumulation of things. Number 5 is furniture pushed flat against every wall. I know why people do this. It feels like you are making more space. But what it actually does is create a ring of furniture around an empty center, which makes a room feel hollow and awkward. Pulling a sofa even 8 or 10 inches away from the wall, or angling two chairs toward each other slightly, creates what designers call a conversation area. The room suddenly feels inhabited and warm rather than arranged for a waiting room. Try it before you dismiss it. It costs nothing and takes about 4 minutes. Number 6 is outdated or dirty light switch plates and outlet covers. I will be direct about this one. It is one of the smallest details in a home, and it is one of the most surprisingly impactful. Yellowed plastic covers, or covers that have been painted over so many times they look bumpy and uneven, quietly signal neglect in a room, even when everything else is clean. A standard outlet cover costs well under $1. Replacing every plate in a room with clean, bright white, or brushed nickel if the hardware in the room leans that way, takes an afternoon and costs almost nothing. It is the kind of detail that real estate professionals notice, and guests notice unconsciously. And speaking of details that stack up, if you want the fuller breakdown of how these 12 things connect to each other and how to sequence the fixes in a way that gets you the most impact with the least money spent, open your phone's camera app and point it at the QR code still sitting up in the top right corner of the screen. The guide goes further than I can here, and it is worth having in hand as you go room by room. Number 7 is too many small decorative objects grouped with no logic. Shelves and surfaces covered in small, unrelated items do not read as curated. They read as cluttered. The old rule of thumb I keep returning to is this: odd numbers, varied heights, and intentional grouping. 3 objects of different heights together look deliberate. 11 objects of similar size, scattered across a shelf, look like a garage sale. If you are not sure what to remove, take everything off the surface. Put back only what you genuinely love and see how the room feels. You can always add back, but most people find they do not want to. Number 8 is artificial plants that look artificial. I am not against faux greenery. I understand why people use it, especially in rooms with low light. But a dusty, plasticky-looking fern in the corner of a room announces itself immediately as fake, and it makes everything around it look a little cheaper by association. The fix is to either replace it with a high-quality faux plant, the kind with slightly varied leaf colors and realistic stems, or to switch entirely to something real and low-maintenance like a pothos or a snake plant, both of which are nearly impossible to kill and cost almost nothing at a hardware store or garden center. Number 9 is mismatched hardware on cabinets and drawers. This is one I see constantly in kitchens and bathrooms, and it makes a significant space look unfinished. A mix of brass pulls, chrome knobs, and black handles, all in the same run of cabinets, creates a visual noise that no amount of nice countertops can overcome. Picking one finish and updating all the hardware consistently is one of the highest return improvements you can make in those rooms. Cabinet hardware runs anywhere from $1 to a few dollars a piece at most home improvement stores. For an average kitchen, you are looking at perhaps $30 to $60 total, and the transformation is remarkable. Hold on for number 10, because it is one I think most people genuinely underestimate. And it connects directly to something coming up in number 11 that I find folks almost always get backwards. Number 10 is overhead lighting used as the only light source. Rooms lit entirely from one overhead fixture feel flat and institutional. The reason is simple: overhead light casts shadows downward and removes depth from the space. Rooms that feel warm and expensive are almost always lit from multiple levels: a floor lamp in the corner, a table lamp on a side table, perhaps under cabinet lighting in a kitchen. These layer the light, create warmth, and make the architecture of the room feel more interesting. You do not need to rewire anything. A simple plug-in floor lamp can change the feeling of a room entirely, and a decent one costs $20 to $40. Number 11, and here is the one I promised is often done backwards, is adding more when a room feels bare, rather than editing what is already there. When a room feels empty or off, the instinct is to go buy something to fill it. 9 times out of 10, the actual fix is removing something already in the room. A room with 7 pieces of furniture that are slightly the wrong scale will feel chaotic and cheap. The same room with 4 pieces that are the right scale will feel open, calm, and considered. I have watched folks spend money on new items to fix a problem that would have been solved by moving 2 things to another room. Trust your editing instinct more than your shopping instinct. If you have been getting value from this video and you want more of this on a regular basis, I would genuinely love for you to subscribe to this channel. It helps me keep making these, and I do read the comments. If you have a specific room you are wrestling with, leave it below and I will get into it. Number 12 is the one I almost always save for last, and it is this: dirty or dingy walls that the homeowner has stopped seeing. Paint is the single highest return investment in any room. A freshly painted room in a well-chosen neutral, a warm white, a soft grage, a calm sage, makes every other element in the room look better. It makes old furniture look more intentional. It makes artwork pop. It makes the whole space feel newer than it is. And paint is, by the standards of home improvement, remarkably inexpensive. If your walls have scuffs, yellowing, or a color that was chosen 20 years ago and has never been revisited, this is the one change that will do more for the feel of your home than almost anything else on this list. So let me bring this all together. 12 things. A rug that is too small, visible cords, limp window treatments, an overcrowded or mismatched gallery wall, furniture pushed to the walls, dirty switch plates, cluttered surfaces, cheap-looking artificial plants, mismatched hardware, flat overhead-only lighting, accumulating instead of editing, and tired paint. None of these cost a fortune to fix. Most of them cost very little. All of them are things you can address yourself this week and this month without hiring anyone or replacing anything major. The real takeaway here is what I said at the start. Rooms do not look cheap because they were cheap to build. They look cheap because of a handful of unaddressed details that the homeowner walked past until they became invisible. Now you can see them. That is most of the work already done. This week, start with just one room. Do the rug, the cords, and the switch plates first. Those 3 together cost the least and make an immediate visual difference. Next month, tackle the curtains and the paint. By the time you are done, your home will feel like a completely different place, and you will not have spent anything close to what a decorator would have charged you. Before I let you go, if you want to keep going deeper on this, open your phone's camera app and point it at the QR code still in the top right corner of the screen. The guide pulls together the fuller picture on this kind of thing, the detail and the depth that one video just cannot hold. It is there whenever you are ready. And I would love to know, is there one room in your home that has always bothered you but you could never quite figure out why? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. I put these out regularly, and the next one covers something that connects closely to everything we talked about today: how to make a small room feel significantly larger without knocking down a single wall. I think you will find it worth your time. See you there.